It's a guilty pleasure, honestly speaking. Like
Yeah.
every time I feel very low and I want to cry without any reason, I just put the movie on, have something to eat, and sit and cry. Ball. Like not just crying. It's like crying. It's like
It's like casual
it's an
crying.
outlet for me.
What was the first time you guys watched the film? Any memory of पहली बार कब देखी थी आप लोग?
Oh yes, insane memory. 2001 ब्लैक में टिकट खरीदा था. It was very unplanned. I was what 6 years old. पुणे में था मैं. मेरे essentially मेरे मॉम की एक मेरे नानी की बहन है उसके घर पे. Till then my grandparents had not shifted to Pune. They were still in Jaipur then. And I was 6 years old. मेरे मॉम के extended family वगैरह सब पुणे में थे. तो ऐसी प्लान बना रात को कि चलो पिक्चर जाते हैं. मुझे I was 6 years old. No, क्या मुझे पता भी नहीं था कि कौन सा फिल्म जा रहा है, क्या पता. एक्टर्स भी लाइक थोड़ा बहुत अमिताभ बच्चन वगैरह नाम पता नहीं कि टीवी पे थोड़े बहुत मूवीज देखे थे अमिताभ बच्चन के. शाहरुख खान पता था बिकॉज डीडीएलजे वाज क्वाइट एस्टैब्लिश्ड टिल देन. So and it used to rerun on television as well as it was still in theaters. That much I knew. My first film in the theater was कहूँ ना प्यार है 2000 में, year 2000 में. एंड कभी गम उसके बाद वाज लाइक दैट हाउसफुल क्रेजी एक्सपीरियंस. तो फिर वही रात का 10 बजे का शो मिला, नहीं 9 बजे का शो मिला. वो उस समय सिंगल स्क्रीन का ही जमाना है. 95% ऑफ थिएटर्स इन द कंट्री इन 2001 सिंगल स्क्रीन. द फर्स्ट मल्टीप्लेक्स इज इन दिल्ली, साकेत इन दिल्ली बेसिकली, एंड देन बैंगलोर में. उसके अलावा कोई मल्टीप्लेक्स है ही नहीं इंडिया में तभी तक. तो सिंगल स्क्रीन थिएटर था पुणे में. वही 12, 3, 6, 9 बजे का रात का शो, हाउसफुल, टिकट नहीं मिल रहा है. मेरे मॉम के कोई मामा वगैरह जाके टिकट लेके हम लोग सब जाके बैठे. मैं तो आज थोड़ा सो गया था, थोड़ा देख रहा था. पर वही है, पूरा वो सिंगल स्क्रीन में देखे. पब्लिक नाच रहा है ड्यूरिंग ऐसे शावा शावा, और से सूरज हुआ मतलब में सीटी वगैरह बज रहे थे. All of that I remember.
Even before the film, it was the songs, I still remember we used to use the songs. मेरे पास अभी भी कैसेट है कभी खुशी कभी गम का. तो उस टाइम पे I used to go to my nana's place, like my maternal uncle's place, क्योंकि मेरे घर पे कुछ नहीं था. तो all my source of entertainment was when I used to go to my nanny house. तो and he had the cassette, and तो वहाँ पे गाने सुन के गाने मतलब गाने रट गए थे. एंड बचपन से लाइक एसआर के काजोल थिंग. तो मूवी का मेन मोटिवेशन वही था, एसआर के काजोल. एंड देन द सॉन्ग्स, बिकॉज स्कूल में बचपन में हम लोग बहुत अंताक्षरी खेलते थे. तो द सॉन्ग्स आर रेज. एंड एम से गाना आया उस टाइम पे, तो मेरी इट स्टार्ट ऑन द टाइटल ट्रैक. मेरी आंखों सांसों में तो ऐसा हुआ है, लाइक वो चलता था. तो द सॉन्ग्स आर द फर्स्ट क्रेज. मूवी तो मैंने टीवी में देखा है एकदम. मतलब उस टाइम पे क्या होता था, जो लोग अभी भी होता है शायद, आई डोंट नो, बट जो लोकल केबल ऑपरेटर्स होते हैं ना, रिलीज होने के एक हफ्ते के अंदर दे यूज्ड टू पायरेट द फिल्म समहाउ. एंड वो लोकल केबल का एक अपना चैनल होता था जिसमें दोपहर को मूवी आती, तो उसमें आ गया था मूवी एंड मस्त देख लिया था. एंड मूवी मतलब मूवी के साथ ऐसे लाइक इट्स ऑलवेज बीन एन एंटरटेनर ना उस टाइम से. एट दैट एज यू कैन नॉट जज मूवीज, और यू नॉट इन एन एज टू, you just see the movie, you feel the emotions mostly, because like the movie का वो ट्रैक ही वैसा है. You feel the emotions, you laugh, वो चांदनी की चाचा में you laugh on those portions and then you cry in the other portions. The entire journey, the entire gamut of emotions हमेशा से वैसा ही रहा है. क्योंकि कुछ चीजें जब वैसा हो जाता है ना, when in the growing years it leaves such a strong impression कि आगे चल के वो कितना भी like analytically politically गलत या like whatever it happens, वो चीज नहीं जाती है. इट ऑलवेज स्टेज. कभी खुशी कभी गम इसलिए ऑलवेज वैसा ही रह जाएगा, चाहे उसमें कुछ भी क्या भी आज के जमाने में, सोशल मीडिया के जमाने में लोग कितना भी प्रॉब्लमेटिक एलिमेंट्स निकाल ले, but that entire essence is going to same. I remember this very vivid interview. There was this foreigner who was recounting that how they react to Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, because she was reacting as like sometimes happy, sometimes sad. That was the legit translation she did in the. And she was like, that experience is a borrowed experience for us, because outside of India you cannot think of such like family values mostly. वहां पे winter में ऐसा हो जाता है, they lose contacts also, they lose eye contacts also, the human contact gets very rarefied. So in that sense, जहाँ पे our family is coming together for a Karwa Chauth, and there is a dance, and there are two guys and flirting with two women. So this entire dynamic, this entire diaspora of Indian cinema, of Indian family value. So Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum is in a major way is a representation of that.
Arnab started with the music thing, and I have to agree. Like the earliest memory with the film is the one that has been told to me. Ki I was sleeping and ye keh do na bajaya tha. I woke up, I danced, and I went to sleep. So the memory that I was told. And हाँ, कभी खुशी कभी गम and these type of films are the kind जो आपके like adult sensibilities में count नहीं होते, like these are the films you accept कि नहीं नहीं इसके बारे में कोई discussion नहीं होता है कि क्या सही है क्या गलत, सब सही है इस फिल्म में, including Kajal's over patriotism and like everything that is
over everything.
over everything.
Yeah. Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum is an emotion for me. That movie has everything a good cinema has. It has Shah Rukh, it has Amitabh, it has great music, it has dance, Hrithik Roshan, Kareena Kapoor. That's it. Every good movie should have this combination. And Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum is basically sits with Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. So I was big fan of Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. Then I watched Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. तो उसमें कुछ कुछ होता है का वो एक बीट है, लाइक तीनों के नाम सेम है, रानी, शाहरुख और काजोल के, और वो भी सीन है कि टीना छोड़ के जाती है, अंजलि रुक जाती है, लाइक वैसा मल्टीवर्स था उसमें। ओह शिट, इस मूवी में ये लेके आ गए। तो कभी खुशी कभी गम बहुत ही स्वीट मूवी है, ऐसा एकदम लार्जर देन लाइफ, मतलब ऐसे तुम बस देख रहे हो, और एकदम पहला सीन ही ऐसा वो लता मंगेशकर का सुर लग रहा है, वो जया बच्चन आ रही है, सो स्वीट। और वो हेलीकॉप्टर शॉट शाहरुख वाला, ऐसे काफी सारे सीन है जो ऐसे सिर्फ याद है उस मूवी के, ऐसा पूरा सीन बाय सीन मूवी याद है कि कोई भी चला दो, हाँ सब लर्न है, किसी को भी बिठा दो, कहीं से भी कोई रैंडम डायलॉग मार देगा, कहाँ गए, और फिर कोई और कहाँ गए चालू हो जाएगा जॉनी लीवर वाला। सो या कभी खुशी कभी गम मस्त फेवरेट मूवी है मेरा।
When I watched it for the first time, I was a very young kid, and I just remember for no reason I was just crying. And you know, back in the days, you could not show that you were crying watching a film. So I used to run to the room, cry, and then come back and then watch the film, and nothing is happening. I'm not getting affected and all of that. That happens even when I go to the theater. Like I have to act like I'm not crying at all, but you know, it's very emotional. So there are movies like what is it, Hum Saath Saath Hai, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, very family valued and all of that. I think everyone in the South, at least my friends here, go crazy over the songs, and especially the dialogues like कौन है ये जिसने दोबारा मुड़ के मुझे नहीं देखा? Who is he? All of this, they go crazy over that, and every time they just get it, they do all these dub smashes. When the dub smash phase came up, this was the dialogue that everyone was doing, irrespective of their language that they speak. It's a guilty pleasure, honestly speaking. Like,
Yeah.
every time I feel very low and I want to cry without any reason, I just put the movie on, have something to eat, and sit and cry, like ball, like not just crying. It's like crying. It's like that.
It's like Kajol
It's an
crying.
outlet for me.
To be honest, it's been a long time since I watched Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. मेरा जहाँ तक कि याद है, I think I watched it in like fifth standard or sixth standard. Still not sure when, but like in the TV era probably, जब ads आते थे 8-8 मिनट के multiple intervals पे,
और वो
वैसे
3.5
होती
घंटे का मूवी 5 घंटे चलता था।
yeah. That was my experience watching Kabhi Khushi Gum. But ad से ज्यादा like उस movement से, जो scenes से, I think that sort of stood with me. जैसे like for example Hrithik Roshan as जो उसका बचपन का childhood face as like him being a fat kid. So I could like relate with that, see myself in him. And then when he like grew up to be this like amazing guy, I thought, okay, I have some hope. But of course that didn't turn. I'm not going to be Hrithik Roshan for sure. No one can live up to that standard. But as a kid, yeah, that was something nice to see. Like Shah Rukh Khan land Chopper, वो भी, I mean, unreal expectations की बात करो तो, and going to London to study, or you enter and like there's a dance number. ये I think ये इससे पूरा ट्रेंड बैठ गया ये इसका, करण जौहर का स्टूडेंट ऑफ द ईयर पे, like when you actually go to a college, yeah,
Yep.
that's setting you up for disappointment. But it was a fun time, man, watching that film.
Simplest question: what are your favorite memories in terms of scenes or favorite characters, or just like what is the most meme-worthy thing about the film according to you? मतलब
Kajal. Genuinely, like I at one point I thought कि ये iconic character है कि मतलब
बहुत।
she's not getting a hint that he likes her, ठीक है, and her whole vibe, ठीक है, उसकी कार पंक्चर हो जाती है and she's like हाँ मैंने पंक्चर किया, मुझे बड़ा मजा आता है करने में, the vase vase क्या था,
Yes.
vase, हाँ that was गमला नहीं vase,
वो वाला डायलॉग, ये मेरी दुकान हड़पना चाहता है।
हाँ रुखसा, ये मेरी दुकान हड़पना चाहता है। हाँ, और स्पीकिंग ऑफ काजल, मेरा वो सबसे फेवरेट सीन है जब वो रुखसार को लड़के वाले देखने आते हैं और वो यहाँ से बता रही है कि हम जीत गए, सचिन की सेंचुरी हो गई, और उसकी वो बहरी ना दादी कुछ और ही सुनती रहती है, तो बाप रे, बहुत सुंदर सीन है वो, मस्त।
But I think that is true Kajol energy also. Matlab,
हाँ
that is, she didn't have to do
yes
anything for the film apparently. It felt like it was just her.
I mean, she holds it for the entire
yeah
film,
yeah
and I mean, look at how, I mean, how an actor evolves. That a character which is given such a beautiful arc of a comedy, जहाँ पे where she has an emotional scene to play, और जहाँ पे she has a very serious scene to play, she does that bang on. मतलब मुझे काजोल की ना वो आर्क ऑफ दैट कैरेक्टर आर्क मुझे वो बहुत अच्छा लगता है, कि जब वो गमला टूट गया, एंड देन इन दैट मोमेंट शी टर्न्स, लाइक हमारे बाबूजी कहते हैं कि
हाँ
हाँ, जो माफ कर देता है ना, उसका दिल बहुत बड़ा।
And both are
And
big
instant,
yes yes
exactly that instant change, and again that instant change, वो घूमती है, and that the बाजू कमला. So I mean, actors got to be real fluid to, like, to do such seamless transitions also.
And Shah Rukh Khan, like all movies, mein, he's so dreamy and unrealistic. And even in this, in the beginning, he's like that. Like in between the films, there is just some such practical dialogues which he says. ठीक है, जब वो बोलते हैं वो भारत से आया है, and he's just like भारत की आबादी पता है क्या है, मतलब if they all come here, where will I go? और even when he's talking to Hrithik Roshan and he's just like आप और बोलिए ना अच्छा लग रहा है, he's like मैं गाना गा रहा हूँ. Like that was like so, for me it was एकदम off character for him. Never seen him say such practical things before.
Initially, for the first time watching the film, I thought she was acting, but then when I came to know that she is that person, it just made it better. For that fact, even Kareena Kapoor is also that. Like she is that person. She's so mean. She's so bitchy. She's all of that. That's
yeah
why it suits her well. Like even like that's why you know that she's acting in Jab We Met. She is not that soft. That's when you have to relate the personal lives of the actors in some way. That's how you know that this film is even better because at some other point everyone was themselves. Even if you look at Amitabh Bachchan for that fact, do you know that he is that little like old grumpy orthodox person who might flirt with the girls around and all of that. Like, that's you know what I'm talking about. It just feel patriarch. Like that he is that. That's why everything about this film feels authentic. Even the drama and for the first place feels authentic because of the characters being authentic.
Yeah, I still remember the scenes between Jaya Bachchan and Amitabh Bachchan. They were just so unromantic. Like they was just so dry and just पता नहीं यार मतलब not in a bad way, just very interesting dynamic that they had. And I still remember when you talk about Kajol and emotional scenes, just a very small scene when जब उसको मिलती है मॉल में एंड उसको ध्यान पता चलता है कि ये मतलब ये इसके क्या बोलते हैं ना पापा है उसके, तो पैर छूती है एंड दैट एंटायर सीन बिटवीन बोथ ऑफ देम बहुत ही अच्छा सीन है. एंड I think the best part about Kabhi Khushi and Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum is the silences that the film has, the moments where there is no dialogue. I think those bits are personally the best, according to me. In that scene, the scene when Shah Rukh and Jaya Bachchan meet and they are touching each other, and just that scene is just so well done also and so well directed in general. I love scenes where these things are being done. Okay, of course, why not? But even the Hrithik Roshan and Shah Rukh Khan one when they are crying on the bench together,
Yes.
it is so well done and just showing to Karan Johar has never had two macho characters in that sense. He has had a different stereotype that he has followed, but having two men cry like that and just sob, and the elder one trying to control him and like masti mein slap kar raha hai usko bola chup ho ja, and just the dynamic they shared बहुत अच्छा इवॉल्व हुआ था फ्रॉम वेयर दे हैड व्हेन दे वर यंग. एंड आई थिंक वो यंग वाला पार्ट दिखाया उस वजह से वो आगे वाले का और इम्पैक्ट आया, आई फील. सो आई रियली लाइक दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ द साइलेंसेस इन द फिल्म स्पेशली.
But as a kid, no, I didn't understand why Kajol cared so much about like Amitabh and Jaya's validation. Right? उसके माँ
अरे
बाप
वो बाबा, it's 2001 and essentially you have to take intellectualize नहीं करा, just like matter of factly कुछ कुछ होता है and DDLJ के बाद एनआरआई मार्केट पागल जैसा खुल गया. But those people who have the paying capacity to pay for a film, for an Indian film, who are staying in the UK or the US, Canada, Europe, जहाँ पे भी रहेगा, is basically North America and Western Europe, और कहीं है नहीं इंडियंस या सिंगापुर वगैरह मान. उन लोग those who can afford an Indian film outside ना, इसका मतलब दे हैव ऑलरेडी लेफ्ट इंडिया इन द लेट 80s अर्ली 90s. लिबरलाइजेशन जैसे हुआ ना, वो लोग कट लिए, वो बेंचो वो लोग भाग गए. ठीक है, इधर इकोनॉमिक लिबरेशन हुआ, लोगों के हाथ में गैस और टीवी आया और लोग कट लिए. So these people who have left India in the 90s must have been born in the late 70s, early 80s, mid 70s मान लो, ठीक है. Their values are enshrined that without पेरेंट्स की अनुमति के बिना शादी नहीं हो सकती, नंबर वन. नंबर टू, प्योर ब्रेड बहू नहीं लाए घर पे तो बहुत बड़ा कलंक हो गया. Number three, we live outside the country, but we adhere to the values of the country, of our homeland or of our expat country even more, as to overcompensate for the guilt that we have कि हम भाई देश छोड़ के चले गए. और
for decades ना actually इंडियन सिनेमा का एक रिप्रेजेंटेशन हमेशा से रहा है, like to the outer world, to the international globe. Onwards 1955 से लेके it has always been a very much kind of a poverty stricken families, and like those kind of very realistic grassroots, because Pather Pachali went and became such a iconic film over international film diaspora. उस वजह से ना हमेशा से that remained a like a parameter है ना, barometer के मतलब अच्छा ऐसा ही होता होगा इंडिया में, like mostly things are like poverty stricken or grief stricken, like there are like dusty roads and stuff. What entered with the 90s and then far more with films like this, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, especially Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, इसलिए like वो international cinema में ना वो लोग इसलिए because it toppled over that scene which had been held by international audience for such a long time. I'm not even kidding. Like 1955 onwards, एक जो image था, ये 2000s में जो ये extravaganza वाली movie, all this like lehengas and everyone dancing and party and extravaganza. The extravaganza that Bollywood was, it completely toppled over that image. तो कभी खुशी कभी गम इसीलिए भी इतना significant है ना, because it showed that India is like this also. There is quite like this quite extravaganza at places. There obviously it's a very non-homogenized, uneven sort of a topography when you come to the people of India. There are extreme riches, there are extreme poverties, but उस टाइम के पहले लोग क्या सोचते थे, because the films which got uploaded 90s वगैरह में उतने इंटरनेशनल सर्किट्स में इतनी मूवीज इतने ज्यादा अपलोड नहीं होते, all those which went by the art films only, by the parallel movies only, and the parallel movies were of realistic folks. Parallel movies were not of like this kind of folks. तो जब करण जौहर की ये मूवीज आई ना, तो दिस शोड समथिंग अ डिफरेंट सिनेरियो ऑफ इंडिया. तो वहां पे उन लोगों को लगा अच्छा ऐसा भी होता है, like there is so much of extravagance, so much of dancing, like ऐसा होता भी है. तो हाँ होता है obviously. I mean whatever they have shown in the movie, I'm not going to the authenticity of that, but हाँ होता है. You see an Ambani wedding, you see not to go to Ambani, you see a very high class wedding. There are things which happen like this, like so it's not a very far-fetched reality, I would say. So movies like this established a different kind of Indian, like Bollywood movies like this established a different kind of Indian concept to the international audience.
What about a sequel?
Sequel
yeah,
also
that could be done. Yeah, sequel can be done. Yeah.
Bachas of Rahul and Rohan growing up and what they
so
do.
why bachas, those people can be there. आज नहीं बना, Amitabh would have passed away बहुत पहले ना.
नहीं अमिताभ को रखेंगे ना लास्ट सीन में, थोड़ा वो कह दिया बोलने के लिए.
नहीं मैं बताता हूँ. धर्मा फिल्म है और धर्मास्त्र.
I would no what would like a woke 21st century, post 2020, post feminist, post globalized, post pandemic K3G 2.0 look like essentially Raichand's ka pota wants to come out as say non-binary or something like that.
तो वैसे ही कुछ आएगा तब तो मजा आएगा ना. And then you will be like ऐसे लोग हम घर में accept नहीं करेंगे. And then
exactly.
come in and say कह दिया ना, बस
wants to come out as exactly, or maybe like essentially Ritik's character or SRK दे दिया like midlife crisis, family मतलब बीवियों से तंग आ चुके हैं whatever जो भी है, but then they like not like no entry, but then they don't have like the guts to like even get out of the marriage because it's like 7 जन्मों का बंधन and all that shit.